Start. Mr. Vice Chairman, I rise to associate myself fully with the resolution and the concern which has been expressed from all the various sections of the House regarding the urgent necessity of developing rural industries. As time passes by, we are reaching a situation in our rural areas where something desperate needs to be done immediately if we want to preserve the social stability of the country, and also to see that full use is made of the time and talent of the people in the rural areas which go waste today, as has been pointed out in the resolution. Sir, the Planning Commission and the Government of India have applied their minds to the various isolated aspects of rural industries, and some valuable reports have been published and some important recommendations have been made in these reports which need consideration. But unfortunately, there is no high level decision regarding the various issues which face the country as far as the problem of rural industrialization is concerned. We are not quite clear as to what, first of all, rural industries mean and what rural industrialization implies. Does rural industrialization mean the utilization of local resources in order to meet the local needs, or does rural industrialization imply the creating of surplus in the rural areas which could be exchanged with the surplus in other centers of the country and thereby create a richer life for the rural areas? Various opinions have been expressed with regard to this problem, but there is no authoritative determination of the policy regarding the meaning of rural industrialization. It has been suggested that if such import of capital and skill from urban centers were to mean merely the multiplication of industrial centers in the rural areas, such an industrialization of the rural areas would nullify the advantages that are likely to accrue as a result of the rural industrialization. The time has come when some decision has to be taken as to what we really mean by this rural industrialization. There is also difference of opinion regarding the authority that should undertake the responsibility for this rural industrialization. From the literature that has been published in this connection, it is quite obvious that two distinct and powerful schools have developed regarding this issue. On the one hand, there are people who believe that the task of rural industrialization should be entrusted to the village panchayats. Now that the bill is before us, we have to speak on this subject rather on the general themes, yet I would like to make certain general observations in this connection because the basis of the bill is the report of the Third Finance Commission. This is a long-standing issue facing the public finance of the country. Those who have studied economics will know well how this matter had come up even during the British time, when we did not have either independence or any kind of autonomy in the states. Even in that setup, even at that time, the state governments functioning under the British felt that something should be done with regard to adjustment of finances, especially in regard to the relations between the center and the states. there had been a long-standing controversy as to how the taxes, especially the income tax, should be divided between the center and the states. I do not deny the existence of the controversy, and this controversy is not easy to resolve. I entirely agree, but I should have thought that the Third Finance Commission should be tried to face the problems before it, not more or less in a routine manner, but in the context of the new things, not only as they are today, but as they are going to shape in the coming future. We have got what is called a quasi-federal constitution. I do not say federal constitution, although the spirit is there, but a quasi-federal constitution, because many of the powers that should remain with the states are now in the hands of the central government. Therefore, in that way, it is more unitary in character than federal. At the same time, structurally speaking, we have got the state assemblies, legislatures, state budgets, and so on. They function more or less in the same way, but if you go a little deeper into the affairs, it would immediately lead you to think that the states do not have any substantial real power, especially in the matter of finance. Perhaps at the time when the constitution was framed, this aspect did not figure very much in the minds of the makers of the constitution. We had just become free, and the concept of welding India into a solid nation was uppermost in the minds of those people who framed the constitution and all others as well. In that background, it was quite understandable that it should be the dominant thought as to how to put the different segments of our country into a whole, namely the Indian Union. Full stop. Over.